Hello, I'm Rick Lepley, and in this video lesson I'm going to be discussing some finger exercises that you can do on each string. And it's going to be based on half steps, whole steps, whole steps, whole steps, and then a whole step, half step pattern. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. For instance, there is a lesson that shows the G major scale on the first string, okay, on the first E string. So the first note is an E, an open E, and then you have F sharp and G. So you have a whole step from E to the F sharp and a half step from F sharp to G. So in this open position, we may be tempted to use our first fingers open, first finger on F sharp and second finger on G. I'm going to suggest we not do that and use the second finger on the F sharp and the third on the G. Because that way when you're doing a G chord, the open chords, you're in position. Okay? So that's why, because this open position is to be used with open chords. Okay? So this would be one exercise. So open, like that, or we could go or really any combination that you can come up with. And it's not necessarily just for speed, but I mean it can be over time, but at first it's really just for accuracy. And remember, we're not just developing our left hand, we're also need to develop our picking hand as well. So that's a good thing to talk about. Picking, we need to be using alternate picking on these types of exercises, or when we're running the scales. That would be the down-up pattern, okay? And now, keep in mind that when we do the down-up pattern, the distance that we're moving can see that that's not very much, is it? And my hand is kind of anchored. See, my arm is around the back of the bout here, and my palm is like right behind the bridge, and I'm resting my arm here, so my arm is not out in the air. Okay, to do that, it'd be really rough to. I mean, I can do it, but not very well. So you need a pivot point. You need somewhere to kind of anchor your hand, even using your pinky, resting the pinky here. At times I'll rest my pinky finger here on the pick guard and use that as kind of a pivot point, something to support the hand. Okay. So you don't want to do a down, 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 or up, up, up. Okay, there's a time for that perhaps, but imagine it sounds mechanical. You can't really vary. It's hard to vary your pick strokes. The alternate picking allows you to just do so much more. So work at that. Okay. Now our first closed position on the first string starts on F sharp. It's G, a half step to G, and a whole step to A. Okay. So we're going to be using the first finger on F sharp, second finger on G, and your fourth finger, your pinky, there on the A. So it's a half step, whole step. So same deal. So really any pattern you want to come up with is really fine. The thing is working at doing it cleanly, using the tips of your fingers, okay, so you get the best tone. Now, in order to use the tips of your fingers, you can't really, the guitar should not be resting in this area. You should have an open area in here. Okay, now if I'm doing a G chord like this, for instance, if I were to do a G chord like this, yes, it's taking up that space, okay, and it's resting in my hand here because I'm reaching up to this area, so obviously that's going to take that space up. But when you're on your first strings, there's a big opening there. If our thumb is up here like this, then you can see that now the guitar is resting on part of that finger. It's not really free to move. It's very much hindered, as you can see there. Okay, so we need to drop the thumb down. Okay, which means you can see my arm coming down. Okay, so the guitar needs to be at a comfortable position. You see the guitar is not like straight or down, but up a little bit, right? Not sure what that angle would be, but but at a comfortable, on the leg, the guitar should be not resting at the front bout, but like right where the hip is in the guitar. This is the hip. And your arm shouldn't be up here. It should be back here. It should be resting in like the crux of your arm here. And again, where your arm is laying flat across the guitar and your hand is like rested on the bridge. Okay. It'd be the same for electric. Might feel a little different than the acoustic, but the acoustic, it's thick. It's kind of hard to hold on to the acoustic guitar if you don't have it kind of in here, so it's not going to move. Okay, pressed against the leg, your arm behind there, otherwise it's going to slide off your leg. And then up here where we can relax, sitting straight, and relax while we're doing these exercises. So then the next one would be the third, the whole step. Now a whole step, we're going to do a first finger here on the G, your second finger on the A, and then you're going to use your fourth finger on the B note there. You say, well, why not the third on the B? So A and then the third there. Well, to try to stretch your pinky out, I'm sorry, these two fingers just don't work as well together as these two do. They just don't. So first finger, second finger, and then that allows you to be able to extend that pinky out to get that B note. Okay? Whatever pattern you want to come up with there, starting out slow, working up speed, quality is way better than quantity, okay? All right, so now we're going to start on the A note there on the 5th fret with our first finger. And now we're going to go to the B note, which is a whole step, half step pattern is what we're going to do here. We're going to do A, B, and C. So from A to B, in this instance, we will use our third finger. And then we're going to use our pinky there on the C. Okay, now moving up to the B, C, D, you have the same pattern as you'd have up here with the F sharp, G, A. Okay, it's a whole step, half step, whole step pattern. And then you have a whole step from the C, D, E. So you can work at each of these until you get them to where it's real smooth, and then okay, you get the idea? And I would start with these on the first string. That's going to be the simplest string to start on. And then once you develop it on that string, then we're going to move to the second string, third, fourth, fifth, all the way to the sixth string. The sixth string is really more cumbersome. The string is larger, and each of the strings, when you press them down, they push back in a different way. When you release them, the string is like it's pulling back and meeting with your fingers. So in other words, there's like a drag. It creates some drag on the string. And each string reacts a little differently that way. When you're doing it, you'll understand what I mean. It's the same thing with, especially an acoustic guitar, our strings are a little closer to the fingerboard as you get up here to the nut. And as you go up the guitar, in order for the string to have room to move around without hitting the frets when you hit the string, it's a little higher, okay? You can only go so high or else you can't play the guitar, so that's your action as far as how high your string is off the fingerboard. But the strings are a little higher, so that means you have to push them, there's a greater distance to push the string down to the fret to make the sound than there is up here. So it takes a little bit more. Now when I push down, you see the string is lifting. The string is lifting as I'm pulling up. If I don't pull up quick enough, the string is like attached to my finger, if you will. It's against my finger, and it creates some drag when I'm lifting off to go to the next note. So that's different as you go up the neck. So developing a feel for that also is another thing of just getting used to playing the guitar. That's something I'm always working on. There's some songs that I try to play that this one's it's a song called Blackberry Blossom that I like a lot, and you play this lick up here. It's a lot easier to play. Once you get down here, you can feel the strings. You have more distance to push them down, and when you're lifting up, the string is like lifting up with your finger, and it's just more cumbersome to play. So getting used to playing up the neck is a good idea. All right. Also, when you're doing that, it's not going to hurt you to be thinking about the note. If you haven't already committed to memory the actual note you're on, A, G, F sharp, A, G, F, and F sharp's hard to, it's a little rhythmically off, so you could say F for this, okay? Okay. B, A, G, B, A, G, B, A, G, B, A, G. C, B, A, C, B, A, C, B, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Okay. Whatever you can do to help embed in your brain these notes and where they're located on the fingerboard, I'm all for it. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to start, and then once you're finished with the E string, well, you're never going to be finished. This is an exercise you can always do, but you can work on the B string, the G, the D, the A, the E, like I mentioned before. So have fun with that, and take your time. 5-minute practice lessons, maybe 4 times a day. A lot is better than a lot of little. You'll see greater progress over time if you just do it in little spurts throughout the day. So take care. I hope you liked the video. Hope it was helpful, and hope you subscribe to my videos. And if you're interested in private lessons, you can contact me at rick's5minuteguitar@gmail.com. All right, thanks a lot, and take care. I'll see you on the next video.